I noticed from one of the comments that they say the problem is, of course, they don't allow them to have their madrasas in their schools or the Quran in the system, etc. Well, if that is the situation, then why are they, where they've got it, in China, where the Chinese had to send their army in to sort out insurrection there, why are they killing Nigerians in Nigeria who are Christian? Why did they attack the embassies in Kenya and kill all those Kenyan people? Why did they blow up the Twin Towers when they've got all those facilities in those countries? And in Britain, where they blew buses up in the tube. All these things, it is absolutely ridiculous suggestion that that is the reason why. Then we should be blowing up in their countries. We should be blowing up Saudi Arabia. We should be going to Afghanistan and various other areas where the Bible is not allowed. The Bible is our book. It is our belief system, and they won't allow that. As a matter of fact, people who try to convert have their heads chopped off. As a matter of fact, that's why you saw Berg have his head chopped off, and a lot more. If you care to go to another website, which I saw, which is called Abrahamic Faith website, and they have it's called AbrahamicFaith.com, I think it is, and in there they have a thing, clips you'll never forget, and I went and had a look there, and this is by an ex-Palestinian, and he showed these clips from all over the world, absolutely horrific. I couldn't even look at it. And this is, where's our press? Our soldiers are castigated if they try and get a bit of information out so more of their people aren't killed, if they put a little bit of pressure on these guys. Meanwhile, these guys are hacking our people's heads off and nothing's said. Torturing. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, we've got to get proportion back into our lives and really look at this situation. There's a woman who wrote a very interesting letter here, and I'd like to read it to you. It's a New Brunswick woman, and I'm just going to try and get it read to you as quickly as I can. I don't want to run too long on this. And she says, and this is her email that I received from a friend today: are we fighting a war on terror, or aren't we? Was it, or was it not, started by Islamic people who brought it to our shores on September the 11th, 2001, and have continually threatened us to do so since? Now, I would also like to mention, add my own piece in there, that when she said September 11, 2001, there had been 10 further instances before that where Clinton and America never moved. The Cole is one incident. The army bases where they blew people up. There was a whole lot of, I think I counted them, 10 different instances where they were blown up. And the Americans did nothing. I thought, well, boy, what a disgusting situation. And then finally they started to do something. And when those occurred, then they did something. But let me carry on with her letter. Excuse me. Were people from all over the world not brutally murdered that day in downtown Manhattan, in the Twin Towers, across the Potomac, from the Capitol in the USA, in the Pentagon, and in a field in Pennsylvania? You remember when the plane came down? Did nearly 3,000 men, women, and children die a horrible, burning, crushing death that day, or didn't they? And I might add also that some committed suicide by jumping out the windows. What a terrible death. And I'm supposed to care that a few Taliban are claiming to be tortured by a justice system of the nation they came from and are fighting against in a brutal insurgency? This is crazy. I'll start caring when Osama bin Laden turns himself in and repents for incineration all those people on 9/11. And what about the London buses? What about the frightening thing they did in the tube? This is madness. I care about the Quran when the fanatics in the Middle East start caring about the Holy Bible, and I might say allowing it into their countries. Remember, right from Morocco, right through to the other side of right down to Indonesia, through Pakistan and everything. People die because they're studying the Bible. The mere belief of which is a crime punishable by beheading in Afghanistan. I might add a lot of other Middle Eastern countries. I'll care when these thugs tell the world they are sorry for hacking off Nick Berg's head while Berg screamed through his gurgling slashed throat. And we've got to be pretty basic here, because that's what the nightmare is that one of our people went through. But it isn't one, there's a whole lot of them. If you go on that website, that Abrahamic Faith website, .com, you will see that these people are what's been going on. I'll care when the cowardly so-called insurgents in Afghanistan come out and fight like men, instead of disrespecting their own religion and their manhood by hiding in mosques and behind women and children, using them as shields. I'll care when the mindless zealots who blow themselves up in search of nirvana care about the innocent children within range of their suicide bombs. I'll care when the Canadian media and British media and the American media and the Australian media stops pretending that their freedom of speech on stories is more important than the lives of soldiers on the ground or their families who are fighting for us, waiting at home to hear about them when something happens. In the meantime, when I hear a story about a Canadian soldier roughing up an insurgent terrorist to obtain information, know this, I don't care. When I see a wounded terrorist get shot in the head when he is told not to move because he might be booby-trapped, you can take it to the bank. I don't care. When I hear the prisoner who was issued a Quran and a prayer mat and fed special food that is paid for by my tax, dollars and pounds, is complaining about his holy book being mishandled, you can absolutely believe it in your own hearts of hearts. I don't care. And oh, by the way, I've noticed that sometimes it's spelled K-O-R-A-N, Quran, and other times Quran, Q-U-R-A-N. Well, Jimmy Crack Corn, you guessed it, I don't care. If you agree with this viewpoint, pass this on to friends. Sooner or later, I'll get to the people responsible for this ridiculous behavior in the West. Trying to pass on guilt onto us. What for? If you don't agree, then by all means hit the delete button. Should you choose the latter, then please don't complain. When more atrocities are committed by radical Muslims happening here in our great country, and your family is involved, and others, friends of yours, will happen as well. Remember, you push the delete button. And may I add, some people spend an entire lifetime wondering if they made a difference in the world, but the soldiers don't have to have that problem. I have another quote I'd like to add, and I hope you forward this on. One last thought for the day. Only 5 defining forces have ever offered to die for you. Yeshua, that is Jesus Christ, the British soldier, the Canadian soldier, the US soldier, and the Australian soldier. One died for your soul, and the other for your freedom. You might want to pass this on and may seem to forget all of them. Amen. Thank you very much for listening. But I must say that woman has hit it right on the head. I'm sorry for adding those other things in, but they occur to me as I'm reading it, because I have quite a lot of background in this as well. And I really feel as though people should start listening, and these governments that have become so corrupt stop waging wars they have no intention of winning. I mean, it's ridiculous. We put men in an area. They had a video recently on there, and it showed you these Canadian troops, 120 of them, 120 miles away from the nearest civilization. Thank you very much for your time.